she said. I told everyone we're taking a break. I replied. Okay. Then I thanked her for telling me. Instead, I took her at her word and made sure the break was permanent. I updated my relationship status and moved on quietly. She didn't realize what I'd done until much later. She said it like it was already settled. I told everyone we're taking a break, she said. Eyes still on her phone, thumb scrolling like my reaction was background noise. Just for a bit. I'm Mark, 35M. She's Lena, 32F. We'd been together almost 4 years, living together for 2. No explosive fight. No cheating reveal. Just a random Tuesday night, and that sentence dropped into the room like a casual update. I remember blinking and saying, oh, not why, not since when, just, oh. She finally looked up, annoyed. Don't be dramatic. It's not a breakup. I just needed space, and I didn't want people asking questions. There it was. People. Always people. So you announced it? I asked. Yeah, she said. I told them we're on a break. It's easier that way. You're fine with it, right? I thought about correcting her. About saying she should have talked to me first. About pointing out that taking a break isn't a press release, it's a conversation. Instead, I nodded. Okay. That threw her off. She squinted at me like she'd expected resistance. Okay. Yeah, I said. Thanks for telling me. She frowned. You're being weird. Maybe. But something clicked in my head the moment she said she'd already told everyone. Not asked. Told. She went back to her phone, satisfied. I sat there quietly, replaying the words. We're taking a break. Said with confidence. Like a decision she'd made for us. So I decided to take her at her word. That night, after she went to sleep, I updated my relationship status. Removed the photos. Changed the settings. Nothing dramatic. No announcement. No subtweet. Just accurate information. Single. Then I booked a short trip for the weekend. She said she needed space. Packed light. Left a note on the counter. Have a good break. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't chase. I just made sure the break was real. She wouldn't realize what I'd done until much later. The thing about silence is that people mistake it for agreement. Lena did. The next morning, she was humming while getting ready, moving around the apartment like nothing had shifted. She kissed me on the cheek on her way out and said, I'll probably stay at Maya's tonight. You know, space. Of course, I said. Calm. Polite. Cooperative. She smiled like she'd won something. The moment the door closed, I sat down and made a list. Not an angry one. A practical one. Shared subscriptions. Shared calendar. Joint friend groups. The things you don't notice until someone casually announces they've already reframed your relationship to the public. By noon, my phone buzzed. A message from my cousin. Hey man, heard you and Lena are taking a break. You okay? Interesting. So everyone really meant everyone. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about space. This was about optics. She wanted the freedom of being single with the security of me staying put. A soft launch into independence without the inconvenience of consequences. I didn't correct anyone. Didn't clarify. Didn't defend us. I just let the story stand. That evening, I posted a photo from my run. Nothing flashy. Just the skyline, my shoes at the edge of the path. Captionless. But my relationship status, quietly, unmistakably, said single. I muted her stories. Not blocked. Just muted. The next day, I booked movers for the following week. Not to be dramatic, just efficient. I asked a friend if I could crash on his couch for a bit. He said yes immediately, no questions asked. Lena texted me that night. Everything okay? You've been quiet. I replied honestly. Just giving you the break you wanted. She left me on read. 2 days later, she posted a story at a rooftop bar. Smiling. Tag location. New dress. Comments rolling in with fire emojis and get it girl energy. I watched it once. Then closed the app. Because while she was testing what a break felt like, I was finalizing what it meant. She still thought we were paused. I had already pressed stop. By day 3, the break was working exactly how she'd planned. For her, she texted me photos of her niece. Asked if I'd fed the cat. Sent a casual hope you're okay, like we were co-workers on different shifts. No talk of rules. No timeline. No boundaries. Because those would have required mutual consent. I noticed something else too. She never once asked how I felt. Meanwhile, people kept reaching out. Friends asking if I was holding up. One guy I barely knew congratulated me on handling it maturely. Apparently, Lena had been telling everyone I was taking it really well. That I supported the break. In a way, she wasn't wrong. That Thursday, I moved my things while she was at work. Clothes first. Books. The guitar she always said took up too much space. I didn't gut the apartment, just removed myself cleanly, like I'd never been a fixture. I left the keys on the counter. That night, she finally noticed something was off. Did you move stuff? Where are you staying? I replied after an hour. Just giving you space. She called. I didn't answer. She texted again. This feels extreme. I stared at that word for a long time. Extreme was telling everyone we were on a break before telling me. Extreme was rewriting our relationship status socially while expecting me to stay frozen in place. I wasn't being extreme. I was being literal. The next morning, I posted another small update. Nothing emotional. Just a photo of a coffee shop window and the caption, "New routines." She saw it. I know because she watched my story twice. Still, she didn't ask the real question. She assumed the break had an expiration date. I didn't correct her. Because the truth was, the break had already done its job. It showed me how easily she could step away, so long as I stayed put. And once I stopped doing that, the entire illusion started cracking. She just didn't know it yet. She finally snapped on Friday night. Not angrily. Confused. Off balance. Why did Maya ask if we're done? She said when she called, voice tight. I told her we're just on a break. I leaned against the window of my friend's place, watching traffic crawl below. You told everyone we're on a break, I said. You didn't say for how long. That's implied, she shot back. Breaks aren't permanent. Some are, I replied. Especially when only one person gets a say. Silence. Then a sharp exhale. You're twisting this, she said. You know what I meant. I didn't know what she meant. She meant freedom without loss. She meant she'd reassess later, after the attention dried up or the excitement wore off, and I'd still be there, unchanged, available, grateful. She asked where I was staying. I didn't answer. She asked when I was coming back. I didn't answer that either. You're acting like we broke up, she said, irritated now. We didn't. I almost laughed. You told people we're not together, I said. I believed you. That's when the tone flipped. You don't get to decide that, she snapped. I said a break. Not single. But you didn't say that to me, I replied. You said it to everyone else first. She accused me of punishing her, of being dramatic, of taking things too far. I let her talk herself into circles, listing reasons this was unfair while ignoring the one thing she still hadn't done. She hadn't asked me to stay. After the call ended, I checked my phone and saw she'd tagged herself at a concert with friends. Smiling. Flash on. Living her version of a break. So I kept living mine. That night, I changed one more thing. Not publicly. Just enough that when people clicked on my name, the story matched reality. Single. Quietly. Definitively. She wouldn't notice right away. But when she did, that's when the break would finally feel real. She noticed the status changed the following afternoon. Not because she was checking my profile, she'd never admit that, but because someone else asked her about it. I know this because her message came in hot, fast, and defensive. Why does it say you're single? No question mark. Just accusation. I waited a full 10 minutes before replying. Not to be petty, just to make sure I didn't soften it. Because you told everyone we're on a break. Her response was immediate. That's not what that means, and you know it. You're embarrassing me. There it was. Not hurt. Not confused. Embarrassed. She called right after. I answered this time. You're making me look stupid, she snapped. People are asking if you dumped me. I didn't dump you, I said. You announced we weren't together. That was temporary, she said. You don't just update things like it's final. I leaned back and let the silence stretch. Did you plan to tell me when the break was over? I asked. She hesitated. Just long enough. I figured we'd talk, she said. When things settled. Settled for who? She accused me of blindsiding her. Of acting without considering her feelings. I reminded her, calmly, that she'd considered everyone else's feelings first. Then she said something that finally explained everything. I needed to see how it felt, she admitted. To not have expectations on me. To just be me. And I needed to see how it felt, I replied. To not wait around. That's when her voice changed. Sharper. Meaner. So what? You're just done, she scoffed. You didn't even fight. Fight. For a relationship she'd already stepped out of publicly. No, I said. I listened. She hung up on me. That night, she posted vague quotes about miscommunication and people who overreact. Friends commented in support. Some messaged me privately asking what happened. I didn't explain. I didn't defend myself. I just kept doing exactly what she said she wanted. taking a break. Only now, it wasn't hers to control. And she was starting to realize that when you tell the world you're unavailable, someone eventually believes you. The next few days were strange in a quiet, unsettling way. Lena stopped posting for a full 24 hours. That alone was unusual. When she did resurface, it was with a carefully worded story about needing clarity and respecting personal boundaries. No mention of me, but also no denial that we were done. People filled in the blanks for her. Meanwhile, I kept doing nothing loudly. I finalized the move, forwarded my mail, removed my name from the lease addendum, changed my emergency contact at work. All boring, adult tasks that say one thing very clearly: I'm not waiting. She finally asked the question she'd been avoiding. Are you seeing someone? That one made me pause. Not because the answer mattered, but because of what it revealed. She didn't ask if I was okay. She didn't ask if I was hurting. She asked if I'd been replaced. No, I replied. I'm just single. That answer seemed to short-circuit her. You're acting like this is over, she wrote. You're not even checking in. I stared at my phone and felt something close to pity. You told everyone we're on a break, I said when she called again later that night. Breaks don't come with check-ins unless both people agree. That's not fair, she snapped. You're supposed to care. I do, I said. That's why I didn't lie. She told me she felt blindsided, that she thought I'd understand this was just a phase, that couples take breaks all the time and come back stronger. I asked her a simple question. Did you ever plan to ask me before telling everyone? Silence. Then defensiveness. I knew you'd overthink it. That was it. That was the sentence that sealed everything. Because it meant she'd already decided my feelings were an inconvenience to manage later. I told her, calmly, that I wasn't angry, but I wasn't paused either. That if she wanted certainty, she shouldn't have announced uncertainty on my behalf. She cried then. Real crying. Said she felt like she was losing me. You already let go, I said softly. You just didn't expect me to notice. After that call, I muted her number. Not blocked, just quiet. She still thought this was a misunderstanding. I knew it was a conclusion. And the longer the break went on, the more obvious it became that the only thing she actually missed was control. She didn't take the muting well. At first, she tried subtlety, liking old photos, reacting to stories with a heart, sending a random meme like nothing was wrong. When that didn't get a response, she escalated. She showed up at my gym. I noticed her reflection in the mirror before I heard her voice. Arms crossed, jaw tight. That familiar look she used when she felt entitled to an explanation. So this is what we're doing, she said. Ignoring each other like strangers? I wiped my hands on a towel. You said we're on a break. Don't hide behind that, she snapped. You know what I meant. I finally looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I didn't feel defensive or hopeful or angry. Just tired. You told people we weren't together, I said. I adjusted accordingly. Her voice dropped. You weren't supposed to move on. There it was. The quiet rule she never said out loud. She accused me of being cold, of weaponizing calm, of making her look like the bad guy. I reminded her she'd made the announcement without me, that she'd controlled the narrative from the start. You didn't fight for us, she said bitterly. No, I replied. I respected what you said you wanted. That set her off. She said I was replaceable, that she'd already had people sliding into her DMs, that plenty of men would wait properly instead of acting wounded. I nodded. Then this break is really working out for you. She stormed out. That night, a mutual friend messaged me a screenshot. Lena had posted something new. Not vague this time. Sometimes you have to let people show you how little you meant to them. The comments were brutal, supportive, validating. I didn't respond publicly, but privately, I took one more step. I removed her from my emergency contacts, changed my status to single everywhere it still lingered. Not out of spite, but because accuracy matters. She wouldn't notice immediately, but when she did, it wouldn't feel like a break anymore. It would feel like being left behind. And that realization was getting closer by the hour. She didn't realize what I'd actually done until a week later. Not when I stopped replying. Not when I moved out. Not even when people started treating her like she was newly single. She realized it when she tried to come back. It started with a message that looked harmless enough. Hey, I think I'm ready to talk about us. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just the assumption that us was still on standby. I didn't answer. An hour later, she called. Straight to voicemail. Then again. Then a text that was sharper. Are you seriously still doing this? That's when she checked. She told me later, through a mutual friend, that she'd gone to tag me in a memory post. Something safe, nostalgic, a breadcrumb, and my name didn't come up. She clicked my profile. Single. Photos gone. No trace of us anywhere. Not dramatic. Not bitter. Just absent. That's when the panic hit. She texted me like the ground had shifted under her. When did you decide this was over? You didn't even tell me. We were just on a break. I finally replied. You told everyone we weren't together. I believed you. She showed up at my friend's place that night. I wasn't there, but she waited anyway. Sat on the steps like this was a movie scene, and I was supposed to come out and fix it. Instead, my friend told her I'd moved on. Not with someone else. Just forward. She cried. Loud. Angry tears. Kept saying she didn't think I'd take it literally. That sentence spread through our friend group fast. Because apparently, respecting someone's words is only wrong when it removes their safety net. The break she announced had done exactly what breaks do. It ended things. She just thought she was the only one allowed to act like it. After that night, the tone of everything shifted. Lena stopped posting cryptic quotes. Stopped fishing for validation. The performance ended the moment she realized there was no audience left to influence the outcome. Instead, she went quiet, and that silence lasted 3 days. On the 4th day, she finally sent a message that wasn't angry, defensive, or strategic. I didn't think you'd actually leave. There it was. The core truth. Not I didn't want us to end. Not I'm sorry. Just shocked that I'd stepped out of the role she'd assigned me. She asked to meet. Just to talk. No pressure. I agreed. Mostly because I wanted to hear what she'd say now that the leverage was gone. We met at a cafe we used to go to on Sundays. Neutral ground. Familiar enough to feel safe. She looked different. Smaller somehow. No edge. No sarcasm. When she sat down, she didn't pull out her phone. I thought a break meant you'd wait, she said quietly. I needed space to figure things out, but I always assumed you'd still be there. I asked her why she hadn't told me first. She swallowed. Because I knew you might say no. That answer didn't make me angry. It just made everything clear. She admitted she liked how the break felt. Attention without accountability, sympathy without responsibility. She liked that people checked on her. That no one questioned her choices. But when you stopped orbiting, she said, voice shaking, everything fell apart. I nodded. Because it wasn't a break. It was a test. She asked if there was any chance of fixing things. I thought about it. Honestly. Then I said the truth. I don't want to be with someone who needs to step away publicly to decide if I'm worth keeping privately. She cried. Not theatrically. Just quietly. When we stood to leave, she asked one last question. Did you ever plan to come back? I looked at her and answered simply. Not after you made the decision without me. She watched me walk away. This time, she didn't call after me. Because she finally understood what the break had actually been. An ending she announced. And one I accepted. It ended the way most real things do. Quietly. No announcement. No dramatic post. No final argument where one of us wins. Just distance settling into permanence. A week after we met, Lena tried one last time. Not with anger, not with tears, but with nostalgia. She sent a photo from years ago, us on a weekend trip, smiling like we didn't know what we'd become. We were good once, she wrote. I didn't deny it. I just didn't respond. Because being good once isn't enough to justify being dismissed later. And love that only exists when it's convenient isn't love, it's a placeholder. Word eventually got around that I'd moved on. Not dating seriously, just living differently. New routines. New circles. No waiting. No limbo. People stopped asking about us. They stopped framing it as a break. It became what it had always been. A breakup she announced before she understood the cost. I heard she was angry for a while. Told friends I'd taken things too literally. That I should have known she didn't mean it. That I was stubborn. Cold. Immature. Maybe. But here's the thing I learned the hard way. When someone tells the world you're optional, you don't argue. You don't clarify. You don't wait. You listen. She said we were taking a break. So I took one. From confusion, from one-sided decisions, from being someone's safety net while they explored life without me. And I made sure the break was real. Permanent. That wasn't revenge. That was self-respect. And it turns out, the moment you stop waiting quietly for someone to come back is the moment you finally move forward.